This is CJ,
And here's Jonny.
and this is CJ and Jonny's Gear Gabs episode 2. So CJ, how have you been, mate?
Well, Jonny, it's lovely to see you. I must admit, we haven't done one of these in a while now. I haven't been too well. There's been bits and bobs going on in my life which I've needed to get sorted out, which has put a bit of a back burner on getting around to sitting down with you to do a podcast. But now I'm here. It's great. A few little things is just a few little niggly health issues, but you know we have to push through these and not dwell on them and do the best that we can. How about yourself, Jonny?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. I was off annoying John Lydon a few weeks back at his book signing Q&A thing, which a friend of mine managed to record. So I have me annoying him there for posterity. You know, I've had a few reviews coming on the Budget Guitar Show and a couple of things that I'll talk about later right here on this show. But yeah, other than that, all fine, gearing up, ready to go away this weekend. So not too
brilliant. Good.
So yeah, what sort of things have you got lined up for today?
Today, Jonny, I will be reviewing a new guitar that I have. A guitar that I never thought I would buy, purely because I hate the style of tuner that's on it. But I bought it and I have thoroughly enjoyed it. And it's now my daily driver. And I'll be speaking about it, giving a few little tones, showing it off, and yeah, getting your opinion on it and just seeing what the subscribers and other people think about the guitar.
Absolutely excellent. And I've got a few bits and pieces coming up. So why don't we crack on right now and go through the news. So CJ, what have you found in the news recently?
Well, the first bit of news that I wanted to discuss and sort of share with you was the sad news that one of the co-founders of Black Star Amplification, Bruce Kerr, died this week. I think he died I think he died last week actually, but he died recently, and it was apparently early onset dementia that caused it, and it was so sad to read up about it, because I just started getting into liking some of the Black Star artists, some of the Black Star amplifiers, and really getting into that whole Black Star I won't say marketing campaign, but spiel with all their amplifiers and things like that. To read that then one of their founders passed away was sad news.
Yeah.
For what those guitarists. I mean, Jared James Jones or whoever, what you call him, who plays the black Telecaster with the P90 on it.
Yeah.
I think he's got long hair. He plays Black Star amplifiers as well. There's some great people who play them, and I just read it and I just thought it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, that was a really sad thing. I mean, also of course we had the great Alan Lancaster from Status Quo. Passed away age 72.
Wow.
Obviously he'd left the band quite a few years ago, but they did reform for the Frantic Four tour, which I saw them on in Birmingham. I'm happy to say, but yeah, really terrible news. I mean, I've always called the current status quo because a lot of the meaty elements left years ago, and there's some key ingredients there that, you know, make this new status quo, to me, a inferior substitute, if you will, for, I mean, yeah, now Alan Lancaster's gone, Rick Parfitt obviously is sadly gone, but in my hometown on Saturday, this is the day before Alan Lancaster passed, we actually had a John Coughlan's Quo play at a John Bonham festival that was on, which goes on in my hometown of Redditch every year, and I just found it really odd to note that Coughlan was playing in my hometown, and then the next day we wake up to the news that Alan Lancaster had gone, you know. So rest in peace to those guys.
Rest in peace, definitely, yeah.
You know, Alan Lancaster will never be forgotten, and I'm sure the guy from Black Star won't be forgotten by all of the people whose lives he's touched.
No, and it's, I think, with you know, with what you're saying with status quo, I know what you mean, because you get the feeling a little bit nowadays with bands like Queen. You think, you know, because they don't have Deacon and obviously Freddie in there, they're just playing to appease fans nowadays rather than bringing new stuff out. They're just, even though they're still Queen or Quo, they just become a novelty now because they do the same things, and it's nice to see them, but they're not really the same. So yeah, I understand that.
I think that Quo should actually change their name to the Francis Rossi Band, or indeed Francis Rossi's Quo, like John does, the drummer. But the thing with Queen is that should be called May and what's his name? That's it, May Taylor. You know, because it isn't Queen. I reckon if you haven't got at least 3 original members of the lineup, then the name should be changed. You know, I mean, look at artists like the Drifters, for instance, that fantastic vocal group from the 50s and 60s. You know, not one of them in the lineup with the name the Drifters is actually a drifter. It's all people who've come and gone. Dr. Feelgood, nobody in Dr. Feelgood was in Dr. Feelgood. There's a lineup of Sham 69 where not one person was in Sham 69. So I find that, you know, hard to take.
Well, it's like what's happened with the Beach Boys nowadays. I mean, is it Mike Love has his own band now? I think he has 1 or 2 of them in there, and then I don't know. I'm going to get shot by the audience here. I can't remember Taylor's. What's his name? The lead singer.
Oh, Brian Wilson.
Brian Wilson. That's it. Sorry, Brian Wilson. He has his little side of Beach Boys now, but Mike Love calls himself the Beach Boys, and he's called himself the Beach Boys. There should just be Mike Love's band, or you know what I mean. And a lot of bands do it, and it's down to, you know, the connectivity with the fans, really. You know what I mean?
That's right. That's right.
Sometimes, I mean, people like Dave Gilmour have it, right? Because they just play under their own name and just get on with it because they're so well known. They don't need to call themselves Pink Floyd. Well, they couldn't anyway because there's a legal angle with the whole name. But you know, bands that stick with the old name when they've got like 1 or 2 members left in them should just move on. I mean, Joy Division did it, didn't they? They became New Order.
Yeah, and they had most of the original members, bar Paulie and Curtis, you know, who sadly, you know, stamped his own card. But they decided to change the name when he died. And there's a legal wrangling going on at the moment with Peter Hook, who's being told by the other band members that he can't play the New Order songs. Because they're still called New Order. So there was a whole falling out with that as well. And I just think UB40, I can't stand them. But, you know, when a couple of them left, they've become UB40, and there is still the faction that was UB40. And they're having a war of words. I mean, for God's sake, somebody take a calm down.
It happens all the time, doesn't it? Bands and politics and things like that. Yeah.
So what else you got for us, mate?
Well, I was reading an interesting. It's just an interesting little bit of news. It's not massive like a shocker or anything like that. But I was reading an article the other day. Kerr Hammett had actually joined Judas Priest on stage. I thought that's a bit of a mixture there. Judas Priest and Kerr Hammett. You don't normally associate them two. Obviously, they're heavy metal bands, but you've got Rob Halford, who's bald as anything, and then you've got Kerr Hammett there, who's thin and playing his guitar. He just looks out of place on it. But the reason he was in the band and the reason why he was playing was because I think Judas Priest was playing a couple of Fleetwood Mac songs. The Green Masari.
Green Manalishi.
Green Manalishi, sorry, that's it. And so what did they wrote Kerr Hammett on with Greenie Moore, because Kerr Hammett owns Greenie Moore at the moment. I still can't believe that guy plays a £2 million guitar. I mean, he paid $2 million odd for the guitar and he still plays it on stage. But it was really nice to see him joining that was like, to me, that was like when the Metallica guys had the Slipknot drummer and the Slayer drummer and other people playing at them at Download Festival once. It was like one of these little unique mixtures that you don't expect, but was really enjoyed, to read about and listen to, because it's nice when bands let other musicians or other guitarists or other people join them and play stuff, especially when it's something so iconic as playing Greenie Moore for a Fleetwood Mac song.
Yeah.
But then the irony of it is it's Judas Priest playing it.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, the other thing is it can go the other way though, because if you remember the tale of the Ozfest one year when Black Sabbath were headlining with their original lineup, but Ronnie James Dio, excuse me, was there, and Dio had been on the lineup, and there was some kind of argument backstage, and Sharon basically said, right, Ozzy's not singing for Black Sabbath. That's it. So they got Rob Halford in to do it, and he literally had, I think it was an hour to remember all of Black Sabbath's set list, and it was awful. And they did it again I think a year later, and it was still awful.
Yeah.
And it can shoot you in the foot sometimes. It really can. I'm a big Judas Priest fan, but I would not want to see Sabbath again with Rob Halford. Absolutely not. And the same as when they had Ian Gillan as a lead singer in Sabbath. I mean, please. Smoke on the Water, played by Black Sabbath with Ian Gillan singing.
I know. But some, there's times when it happens. There's times when, I mean, our good friend Mike at CGS was talking about Iron Maiden recently, and sometimes you get musicians or artists who join bands and it just doesn't fit. I mean, Blaze, for example, in Iron Maiden, just didn't fit. But in his own band, Wolfsbane or whatever it's called, he's great. He's fantastic.
Yeah, I think right with Blaze, he was great. I saw him live with an Iron Maiden tribute band in Stourbridge once. They were friends of mine, and he turned up because he was playing that venue the following week. So he turned up and on stage and sang with them. That was all right, because it was what he was doing. It was like a tribute band, and but those albums that he made with Iron Maiden, didn't fit into the canon of Maiden. But there again, I can't really talk about that because I'm a Diano fan.
Paul Diano did 2 albums with them, didn't he? Or did he do 3? Two or three. I do admit I like those albums for his voice alone. I find Bruce at times is too shrill. His voice is too shrill, and there's songs that you think, yes, okay, in the early 80s songs, some of the classics fit perfectly, but nowadays I don't think his voice really fits what they're trying to do with the music, and especially with the new album. I mean, the first two songs, I have to admit, I listened to on the album. I struggled to get to grips with them. I don't know if it was they were trying to, I mean, they were using phases on it. It sounded as though they were using phaser or flanger on it. One of the lads was just, you know, the song just sounded too digital. Bruce's voice sounded, it sounded too high, just too off-putting at times with the songs. Even one or two of the albums the last few years have sounded that with them. But then in the 80s, it fit. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I'm not entirely against Bruce and what he's doing.
No.
But I just prefer Di'Arno, and to quote Di'Arno from one of his live concerts a few years ago, when a fan was shouting at him, #1 singer Iron Maiden Bruce Dickinson, and he just turned around and looked at the guy and said, "I don't do opera." So, you know.
Yeah. I think the only person who I've seen in the last couple of years to really pull off a cross band project, like a proper, like being drafted in to do it, not a group that gets together to do a super group, is Axl Rose. Now, I was never a massive Axl Rose fan in GNR, the history he had, his ego and stuff like that. But when he joined AC/DC, I have to admit, he was the right fit for it. You couldn't have got that more perfect. Even if you someone said, "There we go." Do you know what I mean? You couldn't have done it perfectly. He had the voice that fit the music, the guitar, the bass, everything. It shouldn't have worked, but it did. And I actually liked his performances. He didn't come across as arrogant. He came across as quite humble, actually. If you watch a lot of it, there was like that admiration and that respect to Angus, and I think Malcolm might have still been playing with them at the time. I'm not sure. And he just came across as humble and nice, and it sort of turned my eyes around to actually listening to Guns N' Roses again, just because I thought, this guy's, he's had his issues, he's turned it around, and especially now he's sort of made a bit of a peace with Slash and Slash's back with GNR and things like that. So that he's the only person who I think has pulled it off, really. But anyway, sorry, we digress. I think you have another news piece.
Yes, I do actually. Jonny Ramone from the Ramones, his iconic Moss-Rite guitar was sold at auction for $937,000.
Wow.
Sorry, $937,500. The winning bidder wanted to remain anonymous, but it was a 1965 Moss-Rite Ventures 2 in white. And it's absolutely trashed when you see it, because he'd used that guitar since 1977. Now, originally he had a blue variant of it, which he used in 74, 75, 76, but that got stolen out of a van. And he picked this one up at the time for $500. And this has been his only guitar ever since. And yeah, I can't believe the listing actually came with the original guitar strap, 3 guitar picks, and a set of guitar strings, which were used at the final show at the Palace in Los Angeles on August the 6th, 1996. And the band's friend Daniel Ray have had that for he's had that since Jonny died, sadly, in 2003, I believe it was. And yeah, it's just gone up at auction and been sold. I hope it ends up, or it has ended up in the hands of somebody who's gonna, look after it and not just, stick it in a glass case and, leave it there for forever, because it's such a unique sounding guitar. Yeah, I can't believe how much it sold for.
I mean, I think that's about £750,000. I think, isn't it about $900,000 or whatever,
Something.
whatever it was. Yeah.
937,500.
I mean, you look at it in the context of Greeny Moo, for example, and Claire obviously plays Greeny Moo. You would think if someone was buying a guitar like that, it would be stupid to put it on the wall and just look at it.
Yeah.
You know, you wouldn't want to do that. As some places do. You know, there's some guitars, some of the more expensive ones that are obviously museum pieces and obviously historical things, and you don't really want to be playing them as in some of the like George Harrison and John Lennon guitars, which you can understand that the iconicness of those guitars. And yes, I probably wouldn't play John Lennon's guitars or George Harrison's guitars. I'd leave them in the museum. But when it's been a guitar that's had like been in the mill, like these two guitars, it's sad to then just stick it on the wall and think, oh, you know, there's a guitar, $1 million guitar, you know, and I'm just going to look at it. Some people do, some people don't. But I would hope that the person who bought it would actually use it and play it on stage, and it would be a nice talking point on stage, you know.
That's it.
What's that guitar? Well, it's a Ramon guitar, and you know it cost $1 million. Oh, really? Do you know what I mean?
Well, I'd just bring it out for like a really big show.
Yeah.
Maybe play 1 or 2 songs with it, and then have the roadie take it off, put it back in its case, and so at least it gets used, it gets out there. You've got the talking point, you know.
Yeah.
But it's not being, you know, used in that kind of way that it was used before as a constant workhorse, you know.
Yeah.
It's still out there, it's still being played, but rarely, you know. So what else have you noticed in the news?
Well, this isn't really a news article. It's something that someone followed up with this week, and I just wanted to add it to the news because I felt it was a nice piece of news for everyone who knows this person. And it was basically the little health update that our good friend and buddy Mike put up, and it was so fantastic to hear of what is going on with his health, and you know the good news that he's had, and the work through that he's having. And he looked so, you know, he looks so happy with, you know, with what was going on. Obviously, you know, when you understand something, and when you understand either a diagnosis or what is going on with your body, you feel so much better with yourself because you can work through these things rather than dwelling on it. You work through it, and just to listen to it, and just it brought warmth to my heart, because obviously I'm you know, I've been struggling with health issues recently, and it was a nice uplifting thing just to hear that someone who we admire, we watch, you know, we follow, had such good news about his health. And I just wanted to say, Mike, if you're watching, you know, both Jonny and I, you know, we're thinking about you. You know, we appreciate you, everything that you do in your community. Absolutely. And you know, we just hope that your health continues to get better, that you get more questions answered, and that you keep going forward. So that was a little bit of news I wanted to bring up. Just the fantastic, you know, report from Mike.
To Mike at CGS. When I went
all the best, Mike.
And I think that will conclude the news.
So, Jonny, you've been doing this really fantastic series on iconic guitars on your channel, Budget Guitar Show, which, by the way, if you don't know Jonny, go along to his channel, Budget Guitar Show, on YouTube, hit subscribe. He's got lots of content on there, and he's going through this really fantastic series at the moment. You know, support him, get alongside him, because it's awesome. But Jonny, please tell us why you're doing the series, what it's about, and if there's going to be any more videos.
Okay, yeah, thanks, mate. Why I started doing it was I was in a lull of content, and a good friend of mine, Nick, He's a guitar builder, and he looks after all my guitars. And he said, well, I suddenly thought, I've got a couple of replicas that he made for me, and there are news stories about these guitars. So I thought, well, why don't I get a few of these? And my bass player in my band owns a few of these as well. Like this one, which was featured, which was Bill Wyman from the Rolling Stones' Mustang short scale bass. And this sold for a record amount back in November, I believe it was. And my friend had this copy made, and I thought I'd just start doing them. And yeah, what it's about is being able to tell the story of these guitars, and then to be able to suddenly, for a joke, just sort of turn around and say, "Ah, well, I've got one here," you know, or I've got it here. And then right at the end of the video, be able to say, well, actually, this is a budget guitar because it's a Squire that has been made, you know. And there are going to be, it is going to run this series. There are a few coming up. I don't really want to give away exactly what's coming up, but I think I can say that there will be a Joe Strummer or a couple of Joe Strummer from the Clash ones coming up, but I don't want to give away all the really big ones yet. So I'm glad you like it, and it is going to continue. So yeah, that's what that's all about.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, keep it up, Jonny. Yeah, it's a fantastic series. Like I say, get along to the Budget Guitar Show. Give Jonny show Jonny some love. Donate to his channel. Join his Patreon. He's got a new Patreon set up. He's a fantastic YouTuber for guitar videos, and it's all about building everyone up in terms of the community now. So get along, support him, and you know, keep the dream alive, really.
That's it, yeah, and subscribe to us here.
And subscribe to us here. But Jonny's more important.
Okay, now it's time for CJ's pedal gabs. So CJ, what have you got for us this month?
Well, this month has been an exciting month for pedals, for my pedal board. I mean, if you've been following the channel and if you've seen any of the recent videos, you'll have seen that my pedal board, from the first time I showed it to the last time I showed it, changed drastically with what pedals were on there, and what was used in certain things. And today I'm going to show off 4 pedals, which are pedals that I bought recently, and I enjoy them, but they have a fundamental flaw with all of them. I'll get to the fundamental flaw right at the end of this, but the fundamental flaw isn't something that is necessarily bad. It's just something that keeps them off the pedal board, if that makes sense. I use that pedal board on a daily basis. I do probably 3 or 4 hours of practice on the guitar, and you probably can get where I'm coming, why they're not on the board. But anyway, so basically, I bought these pedals. They're all Japanese-made pedals, and they're all. The first one is this. It's called an Axe overdrive pedal,
right?
And it's made in Japan. Made in Japan. Oh, it says it's made in Japan, but it says on here Japon. Oh no, it does say Japan on there. Sorry, I'm reading the French bit on there, so it does say in Japan. But when you feel this pedal, when you first see it online, you think it's sturdy. You think it's like a metal case, but it's not. It's plastic. So this is all plastic.
Oh, so it's a bit like a Behringer.
That's yeah. So it's a bit like a Behringer. Now, I do like these pedals for the reason that they do sound really nice in the mix. They sound, you know, they do their jobs as they should do. They work well. They're not loud. There's not really much leakage out of the power supply or anything like that that makes it noisy on the amp. They do their jobs. They also have a fantastic feature on at least 3 of them, which is this in the middle. And I think if all pedal companies had this would be fantastic. So you just do this, you push the sides on it, and instead of the Behringer pedals where you have to do those two stupid screws on the side of the Behringer pedal to prop it up, the battery compartment is just basically that.
Ah, I see.
And then it's just a clip down. So if you were playing, I mean that's upside down now, but if you were playing a gig or something like that and you need quick access to it, you can get quick access to it. And that to me makes it 10 times better than the Behringer pedals to start off with, just that little feature.
Yeah.
And I don't know why more guitar companies don't do it, because the pedal works. That works fine. I mean, if anything, I would say that's as tight as a Boss pedal, as a proper bass pedal.
Yeah.
It's not like a Behringer pedal at all. That feels like good, sturdy. And then it's just a plastic chassis, unfortunately, which lets it down. But it sounds great. It sounds like it's a low gain overdrive. It's certainly not a clon, but it does the job. You do have to crank it up tiny bit on the level to actually hear it. That's the only problem with that. Then the next two.
Retail for?
Well, I bought these pedals. I've always said I wouldn't pay more than about 40, 50 pounds for stuff like that. This one I think I paid about 30 pounds for, especially being a Japanese pedal.
Yeah.
And inside the electronics are fine for it. There's a couple of Chinese components, even though it says made in Japan.
Yeah.
But I think those components have been, looking at the solder work, have been components to fix the pedal at some point on this particular pedal, because the rest of them don't have those. They don't look like they match the original pedal, if that makes sense. They look a bit more modern. So that's about 30 pounds. However, this is a very similar pedal. This is an Aria distortion. Now, if you look at both pedals, you can see they look exactly alike. Exactly like, and it's obvious on the back because the things are the same. It's obvious on the side because the inputs are the same. On the same, and it's the same sort of construction. That's like a Boss pedal you got, but this one, it doesn't open like the overdrive opens, like pressing on the side. This one you just slide it off, which is even better. So you just slide it off like that. So you just slide it. So if you need to change the battery, it's just a quick slide. And then the battery's inside. So so these are nice little pedals for that. It's actually a good little distortion. It's not fantastic, but it works. It does the job. I'd say it's a mix between a DS1 and I'd say a muff, but not a refined muff, if that makes sense. I'd say it sounds like an unrefined muff that sometimes when you're hammering the guitar, it sounds overkill and it just goes all over the place, sound and everything. I mean, I'll have to do a review of all these 4 pedals joined in together. There's just something about it that doesn't sound like it's tight, and it doesn't sound like it just wants to go off in one direction, like one direction, in lots of different directions. Sorry. And there's not really any control on it, but it's got a level, it's got a tone, it's got a distortion. A distortion thing on it. So that's a distortion one, and then we've got another one that looks exactly the same, which is a chorus pedal. Another made in Japan pedal. Same 3-knob system, rate, depth, intensity. Again, the same with the battery one. This one is actually stereo, whereas the other two aren't stereo. The stereo port on the top doesn't work on the other ones. But really nice chorus pedal. The only problem why this isn't on the board is because I'm too much in love with that Nux chorus pedal that I have, that yellow one. And for me, that and the Afterglow will always be on my board. I don't need a £200-300 pedal or a £20 cheapy pedal. Well, it is a cheapy pedal, but I don't need something to replace it. That's what I'm trying to say. My Nux is the pedal to go to, and I love it, and it'll always stay on my board. And the last one is, now this is a tank. This is an absolute tank. This is metal. Okay, if you threw it, you'd probably kill someone because it is a beast, and it's a fantastic compressor pedal. This time the battery compartment's on the back, silver screw, unscrew battery inside it. Another one that's made in Japan, if you can see on there, if you can see quite clearly. It's a 4-knobbed compressor pedal now. This is an 80s pedal, and obviously it's going to have its issues. So when you press it, it doesn't always engage, and there's a little few problems on it. It's not on my pedal board at the moment because of that simple fact that it doesn't always engage. And sometimes when you turn it on, the lights on, and there's nothing coming through it. Sometimes you press it on again and it will, but then it'll drop out again. So it just needs fixing. But the fantastic pedal, it's by a company called Pearl, and Pearl do a lot of fantastic pedals. I think they're in the same league as Gaiatone and what's the other one, and Noble pedals. They're in that sort of league of old vintage pedals, which are really good, or the Yamaha pedals. But yeah, it's a four-knob compressor, which you don't really see 4-knob compressors nowadays. I think the TC Electronic what's it called? Their compressor pedal, that's got 4 knobs on it. Their tone print pedal has 4 knobs on it. I think the Dyna Company has 2, and there's a couple of other ones that have 2 or 3. Bosses, I think Boss has 4 in it, but that has 4 in a row. And for a compressor pedal, works fantastically. It works fantastically to do the sound, just not in terms of being on the board and doing its job.
I see.
So I do recommend, if you want a bit of fun, if you want to experiment, if you want to get a bit of Japanese, vintage Japanese pedals, but at budget prices, certainly look at these brands. There's some called like there's Arias, there's Axe, there's Pearl, there's Noble. I don't think Nobles are Japanese. I think they're more English. There's Yamaha pedals, old Yamaha pedals. There's lots of different companies, and like I say, these ones can be found, under 25 different names and whatever. These ones, I think that they were made by the company. So I fully recommend going out and having a look at and some Japanese pedals, because it's not every day you can say your board's full of Japanese pedals. And say, oh, have you got a Boss DS1 Japanese? No, I've got an Aria distortion pedal, but it's still Japanese. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, and going back to my original point, the reason why they're not on my board, unfortunately, these 3 are unfortunately a little bit like Behringer pedals, and for me, I'm heavy-footed, and I used to go through Behringer pedals more times than I had cheese, because I used to hammer the things quite badly. Not on purpose, it's just I was heavy-footed, and I've broken a few pedals, and because these are vintage pedals, I do not want them to break. I'm going to put these on. I'm making an auxiliary rig on my desk, and so that I can use them with my hand, and I can tap each one on, and then it comes through the speaker. So I'm using these for my auxiliary rig for that. But yeah, fantastic.
Excellent.
And fully recommend. And yeah, I'd say if you have 30-40 pounds, if you go on Reverb, you'll find them all over the place. Negotiate. Don't just accept face value, negotiate, because I got each one of these for like 30-40 pounds. Some of the people were saying 50-60 pounds with boxes. I was like, nah, you can have 30-40 pounds each one. If you negotiate, you get good deals. Yeah, so it was a fantastic pedal. And the last thing that I just wanted to talk about pedal-wise was I was recently loaned a pedal by one of our good friends to the channel, Dave Lewis. It was the Marshall Governor, the version 2 pedal. I have to say that was one of the most enjoyable pedal experiences I've had. I didn't expect anything from it. I didn't expect to really enjoy it as much as I have, and it's probably one of the best pedals that I've ever tried. So I am actually looking at getting one of the Governors, either one of the original ones, but they're built like tanks, and you'd have to have its own pedal board for it, or I might get one of the new ones as well. But I just like to say to Dave Lewis, thank you very much for introducing me to that pedal. It's awesome, and you'll really enjoy it. But thank you.
Nice one, Dave Lewis. Bang on.
But yeah, that's my pedal reviews for this podcast, Jonny.
Nice one. Excellent. Okay, so CJ, I believe you have some new gear to gab about today. What's all this about?
I do. I have some new gear. It's gear that I never expected that I would ever be reviewing on the show. But I have myself a new affordable guitar, which is this beauty here, which is the Telecaster Deluxe. Oh, this was, there we go. Telecaster Deluxe, so by Squire, the Classic Vibe series. It's got the two wide range pickups in it. I never thought I would like this guitar. I saw it and I thought, well, I want to give it a try because I like those pickups. I like the wide range pickups. Anyone who knows me, if I was ever to make a guitar, I'd have these pickups in first and foremost before anything else. And I had the opportunity actually to, and this is a shout out to Dawson's, and everyone knows, well, people know that Dawson's went through administration and things like that, and they pulled themselves out the other side. And to support Dawson's, I was inquiring about some guitars because I wanted to buy one or two just to, just to help them out and things like that. They didn't originally have this on the website. They've had issues with DBT and the supplies and things like that, and the website's a bit of a mess. But I contacted the remaining store, which is in Chester, and I said, listen, what guitars do you physically have in stock at the moment, because it's not showing on the website. I said, oh well, I had this Telecaster, and I was like, oh really great, I'd love to purchase it, I'd love to get it and try it. And there was issues with the delivery, and I said, listen guys, I'll just organize my own delivery and my own pickup and delivery, save you guys having to do it, and then at least I get my guitar until the contracts until they've sorted their contracts out there. And they were like, oh yeah, great. So I paid my delivery, I got it picked up at Chester store, got it brought back down here, and it was something that I didn't expect. I had fears of it being not the greatest guitar in the world. Even though I have had one before, in terms of I've had the thin line version of it, which was a beautiful guitar, beautiful sounding. But I've always struggled with these type of tuners.
Right.
The slot tuners. Yeah. I always looked at them. I was so fearful. I'm like, I'm not going to tune that. I'm not going to get it in tune. I'm not going to play. Then I saw a great YouTube video about how to tune it. Tuned it in 5 minutes, all myself, any balls on it, set it up myself. I mean, I know how to do basic setups and things like that. I was like, why have I been so stressed out with trying to buy a guitar with these tuners on for such a long time? I should have just done it in the first place. But anyway, I got it. I tuned it up, and she's my daily driver at the moment. I mean, we've got Grace down here. I mean, that's a £800-900 Strat. And she's beautiful. She sounds lovely. She does the job for certain songs and certain things that you need that stuff for, especially through the phase pedal. Whereas this bad boy, this is the thing. It sounds for a guitar that's under 400 quid. It sounds amazing. And I'll say now, if you were considering buying the Classic Vibe, the Vinteras, I think it's the Vinteras with these pickups in, don't buy the Classic Vibe. Honestly, just because it's got better wood on it and better what this and better what that, the pickups are absolutely fantastic pickups. And I will be getting a Starcaster. When I can, I will be getting a Starcaster as well, because I love that guitar, love those guitars. So I just thought, I bought it. I did a little review to it. I was a little bit skeptical of it, but I thought I'd give you a little bit of a play and show you what it sounds like. Again, excellent. I'm not the greatest guitarist in the world, so I'm going to stand up and play. At the moment, I'm just playing from my pedal board and my Black Star amp. I've got delay on it, and I'll just go through a few strumming patterns. Everything is turned right up to the edge. Okay. To the max on my levels. So It sounds beautiful.
Yeah, that is nice. That is nice.
Take the delay off, and that's even with the delay off. And that's just the neck. That's the neck, and that's everything set up. So now in the middle. So getting clean, and that's the middle, and then lead is our bridge pickup.
Sounds nice. What kind of distortion tones can you get out of that? Especially that bridge pickup.
The bridge pickup. So this. So I'll go through the neck for now. So this is the neck for now. Let's have a look. This is through the DS1 and the Black Star. That was the bridge pickup. This is the neck. This is the middle. The bridge pickup. Sorry, that was the neck pickup. Sorry, this is the middle. And then this is the bridge. Wrong key, sorry. So yeah, so that's what it sounds like, and that's going through the DS1.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put some reverb and things on it and just show you what the soundscape is through the as a soundscape. And then the last one, I'm just gonna shove all of my settings on, and that's just with Sparkle Drive and the Spark Drive switched in as overdrive pedals going into the amp. Yeah, so that's it. So it's a beautiful sounding guitar.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about my terrible guitar playing, but
Oh,
yeah,
no, it was fine, mate. Yeah, that really does.
it's a beautiful, lovely guitar. In terms of you know, comparing it to the Strat, it does its job. You know, I can hammer. You can saw how I was like sort of playing it quite rough.
Yeah.
On the thing, you can do it with that. Whereas the Strat, you're a little bit more like, you have to be a little bit more, not careful with it, but not hammer it as much as I would like to, because she's a bit more delicate. But she sounds great for more of the overall composition of things.
Yeah.
You know, if I need to record something really nice, I'll use Grace. If I just want to rock out on the computer practice, I'll get that and just rock out to it, because I know that if I hit that, I'm just gonna enjoy myself playing the song and playing solos. I do with that, but I'm a bit more like, should I bend that string a little bit past what I should on here? You know, even though it's got locking tunes on it, it's you know, I think because she's my baby, I just have to be careful with it. But yeah, so that's the guitar. Fantastic Vibe, these Classic Vibe series. I've had a Starcaster, I've had the Thin Line, and I've had this, and very much recommended for the money, for the price, for the sound, for the build quality, for what they are. They're a stonking guitar. Absolutely beautiful guitars.
Excellent.
So, yeah.
Excellent stuff.
So here's my favourite bit of the show, Jonny's rants. So Jonny, what are you ranting about today?
Well, today I want to rant about lead singers, certain lead singers in certain bands, which are very close to my heart, including one I've already mentioned, who I annoyed a few months ago. Now, John Lydon has been in a court case recently with the other members of the Sex Pistols, and on the day that I actually went to see him, he was on Good Morning Britain, and he basically libelled the other three guys in the Sex Pistols because he lost the case for an old agreement that was signed in 1998, where there was a majority rules agreement on using the band's music in any projects that came up. And John really, he looks to control things. And unfortunately, the project that's come up is Steve Jones, the guitarist's book, has been turned into a 6-part series, a drama. Now, John's got it into his head that this is a documentary series and that he wasn't asked about being a part of it. Now, it's not a documentary series, it's a drama with actors playing the roles of. It's been written by a screenwriter who has taken parts of Jones's book and dramatized them. John seems to claim that the band are using pictures of him and his wife, who sadly is very ill with dementia. That is not the case. And I have here the complete court documents from the court case, and it makes very interesting reading. Now, John, personal message here from me to you: you're talking out of your backside, right? This really should not have gone to court. It should not have ground the band to a halt. And the only reason you're out there opening your big bloody mouth is because you've lost a case and you didn't even bother to check what was being put in front of you before you started ranting about it, and then it ended up in court. Now, let this be a lesson to other people in bands. Try and keep things amicable as possible and get to know everything that's going on, because if your band suddenly acrimoniously really do split up and you no longer can be in the same airspace as each other, and you're flying things backwards and forwards in the press, real fans are going to get hurt. I got hurt with this because I feel that he's let me down. The man who's always out there, I am one of you, I am one of you. Well, obviously, no, you're not, you know, because we've bought your records, we've supported your career, and then you want to go out and call the rest of the band liars when patently, and according to this, they are not. It's you that's got it wrong. So take that as a lesson to you, all of those bands out there. No matter what you do, the fans don't want to see this. And that's my rant for today.
Wow, that was a powerful rant, Jonny. Thank you.
So had to be said. And that just about wraps up the show for this month. Thanks everybody for watching. CJ, anything you'd like to say before we toddle off?
Yeah, if you've enjoyed the show, please hit subscribe, hit that notification bell, give us a like, tell your friends, your families, your dogs, your cats, your rabbits, whatever, to come and watch us. I apologise about my bad guitar playing, but that's it. But yeah, it's been lovely to catch up with you again, Jonny, and hopefully we can meet up again sooner this time to get the next podcast out.
Yep, definitely. And it's been great to sit and talk to you and to hear everything that you've had going on with the new guitar and your pedals. So yeah, everybody that's out there that is watching this, thank you very much for watching. As CJ said, like, subscribe. Bye.
Bye.